Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by Tri-County Logging. Experienced in sustainable forestry practices, Tri-County Logging can help you manage your property by keeping your woods healthy and generate income. Serving southern and mid-Michigan for nearly 50 years, TriCountyLogging.com.
Hi everyone, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson-Silik, and we've got an all-new show for you this week. I'm going to spend some time on Saginaw Bay chasing after walleyes with a family that is steeped in the tradition of fishing here in Michigan. You won't want to miss that story. And Jimmy and Jordan have some other fun in store for us this week too.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have one more story on this week's show. We're actually going to kick things off by doing a story on land management. We recently sat down with a couple different companies to kind of show you what they do to help improve a piece of hunting property. You won't want to miss that. Lots of good stuff on this week's show. We do have a shortened show this week because our PBS stations are in pledge, but it's jam-packed with a lot of good stuff. Make sure you stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor and Michigan destination since 1988. Offers a variety of homemade smoked meats and Michigan-made products in-store and online. The Country Smokehouse features an outdoor barbecue and bar. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. By Angler Quest Pontoons. Angler Quest is a Michigan-based company building boats designed for comfort and fishing functionality. For more information, anglerquestpontoons.com. By Polar Craft Boats, offering riveted and welded boats for the outdoor enthusiast. Whether you're targeting fish or waterfowl, Polar Craft Boats have several models to choose from that keep you high and dry. For more information, polarcraft.com.
Well, in our first story this week, we're going to sit down with a couple of different companies that actually kind of work together to manage deer hunting properties. Whether you have 10 acres or 500 acres, these guys will come in, do a plan to kind of let you know what you could be doing to improve your property for deer hunting, or they can do it themselves. And so I just thought it was an interesting story to bring to you to see what can be done to improve a piece of hunting property. Well, we are here today, Randy Vanderveen. Randy, where are we here in the state of Michigan, and what are you doing on this piece of property?
So we are in central Michigan here today, and the landowner had contacted me a few months ago to come up to his property and create a habitat plan for him.
Okay.
So they had been talking to me about this a while ago, and this past winter they came in and did some of the ideas that I had put forth to them, and they did some hinge cutting, which we'll go look at in a little bit. But here on this little plot right here, this is one little spot where they're wondering what they can do to make this food plot a little bit bigger. There's a lot of spruce here, and there's just not a lot of loggers that want to come in and take this spruce out. So they're wondering what they can do. So in some of these situations where you have these nice, real little secluded food plots, sometimes it's better just to leave them small, because it's going to be that little attraction plot where a big mature buck might come in here and feel a little bit more secure instead of being out on a big food plot where he feels like he's standing out on a 50-yard line.
Gotcha.
So in this situation, they came in and they put a stand right back in here behind us, and they cut out some trees, and so that hunter up in that tree is going to be very hidden. And any mature buck that comes out here, say an hour before it gets light or before it gets dark out, is going to be able to, feel secure. And this hunter is going to be able to come in from the backside. So with a south wind, he's coming into the stand, and then his scent is going to be blown away from the food plot as well. So this is going to set up really well. And this is the type of thing that we really want to try and create more on this property. So
okay, now this is a big piece of property, about almost 300 acres, and I know you guys do small plots to big. Now when you come onto a piece of property like this, how do you start generating a plan for a specific piece of property?
So I'll do a lot of research online. I'll use a few different mapping services before I show up. So I try and do a little research and get as much information about the property as I can. I like to get aerial photos that don't have any leaf cover on it, so you can tell where all the streams are and that type of thing. So then when I show up, we'll walk around with the property owner. I'll take my video camera with me and I'll video almost the whole walk. And we'll check out swamps, we'll check out bedding areas. I mean, pretty much anything that's got different edges and that type of thing. So then I'll go back and I'll take all that information and I'll put it together and create a habitat plan on the big screen. And that way we can dial in and get a lot of information as far as you know, where stands need to be, where we need to put food, where we need to put deer bedding, travel corridors in between, and really try and make the property as hunter-friendly as possible.
Now, so on a big piece like this, there's probably food, cover, and water that's already here. A smaller piece might not have. Are you trying to create some of that on every single property, or do you just try to maximize whatever that specific property does well, or what are you kind of looking for there?
So generally what I'm looking for is I'm looking to see what the property lacks. So on this particular property, almost 300 acres, there's only about 3 acres of food. Well, that's only 1% of the property. That's not nearly enough food to hold, you know, several mature bucks on the property. So, you know, we've got to make sure the does are here on the property, which is going to in turn, you know, make sure that the bucks are going to be here, especially during the rut. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go from 3 acres of food and we're going to increase it in short order to about 15 acres of food. And that's going to be a big game changer.
This is another part of the property here, a little bit more interior of it, I guess. Explain what's happening right here. What's going on here?
So this is an area that was a wide open woods. It had a really high canopy, very little sunlight coming through. The forest floor was just bare, even in the middle of the summertime. And so because of that, there's very little food in this area. It was strictly just a pass-through property. You could see from one end all the way to the other. And this little area right here is about 2 acres. So the landowners came in here and they hinge cut a lot of the maples in here. They only left probably 20% of the trees that they started with. So there's a lot of timber. It's not all on the ground though. A lot of it is hinge cut, which means that you only cut it on the back side, so you don't do the face cut. What that does is it allows a tree to stay alive, and that cambium layer that's right underneath the bark is what feeds that tree. And so you can see a lot of these trees that are down, they were hinge cut last winter. So it's been about 6 months now. And you can see there's a lot of survivability out here. A lot of these trees are staying alive, still leaves on them. And what that does is it brings all this food that used to be 80 feet up in the air, it brings all those leaves right down to the deer level. And it's high nutrition, it's very palatable for deer. It creates a lot more food where otherwise before there was no food at all. The other thing this hinge cut area does is it knocks down the sight distances. So you can literally have a doe family bedding over here, doe family bedding over here. And what these landowners did here, they did a great job on creating little travel corridors through here. So when they got done hinge cutting all the trees, what they did is they took their chainsaw and went through and made little hallways, kind of like a hotel. So basically they created a 5-star hotel out of a 2-star hotel, created all the aisleways going through there. And so now there's multiple places for more deer to, you know, house up during daytime hours.
Now, is this something that you would recommend even on a smaller piece? So, you know, a 10, 20, 40 acres, is hinge cutting important even on those?
Yeah, it's even actually more important on the smaller properties. You know, you have a much smaller window of error to go by. So with the smaller properties, you know, a lot of those properties don't have a lot of good bedding, you know, unless you're fortunate to have a swamp or something like that. But most landowners complain that their properties are a pass-through property. And so it's just a matter of luck, right? And so when you can do something like this, you know, you're creating a lot more predictability. Now, in this area here, there wasn't a lot of high value trees, just maples and multi-stem maples, not a lot of timber value. So it wasn't really a big problem for the owner to just drop them and use them to increase his habitat.
Now, is timber prices or timber value, I would imagine that's a big part of what a landowner is looking at. How much can I make off of the stuff I'm going to drop so that I can help pay for doing all the work? Yep,
exactly. And so what a lot of landowners don't realize is they can have somebody like myself come in and create a habitat plan for them, you know, with a hunting strategy, and then recommend what areas should be logged off or select cut, and then they can use those funds to, you know, pay for the habitat plan and pay for a forestry mulcher to come in and maybe open up some food plot areas in the woods, and you know, still have money left over in his pocket. Plus, he didn't have to do any of the work, and he has, you know, better deer hunting property. So it's a win-win all the way around.
Better deer hunting property is, of course, the goal for any landowner that is also a hunter. Equipment can be pricey, so hiring someone to do the food plot work has become more popular. Randy works closely with another company here in Michigan that will come in and do the planting and the tree work for you. Well, we are here with Stuart Postema, and Stuart, tell me a little bit about the company that you guys run, land management. You do it kind of all over the state of Michigan. Just give me an overview of what you guys actually do.
That's right, yeah. So Thickets Habitat and Land Works, we cover the whole state. We do forestry mowing, no-till drill planting for most landowners, anywhere from 2 acres to, like we're on today, 300 acres. So.
And how did you get started in this, and kind of when did it become a full-time thing for you?
Sure. So had property up north, and we were like, we need to do something to clear this brush, the overgrowth, the aspen regrowth. And so we came up with, looked into it, and we found forestry mowing. So we rented one for a season, and then after that, schedule filled right up, and then we ended up buying one that's about 6 years ago now. So now we do this full-time.
Full-time thing,
Yep.
and all over the state of Michigan.
That's right. Either habitat related, or sometimes it's backyard projects, you know, doing 2 acres here and there, or a half acre. So yeah, but I would say 80% of our company is our business is based strictly habitat work.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so is it typically 10-acre, 20-acre people, or is it a lot of these 300,000-acre types?
No, I would say this is actually more rare. It's probably the smaller acreage, the 20 to 80 acre parcels. You know, guys with 4 or 5 acre food plots.
Okay. And so when you come in, so like this stand of aspen that's here, like you,
Yep.
I mean, right down to the ground,
That's
or?
right. Yeah, we always say a 8-inch hardwood or like a 12-inch softwood. And yep, we'll mulch it right into wood chips like you'd get at a landscape supply store or something like that. And flush to the ground. So you could, we always promote no-till planting. So we're not disking, we're doing all no-till. So the stuff in the ground isn't a huge issue because we're not disking it. So we're gonna either broadcast over it or use our drill.
Is there a method to the madness, or?
Yeah, there's a method for sure to get the best. You know, we're trying to get the smallest wood chips possible for the customer because these big long things are hard to handle once we leave. So we use knives on our teeth, which really help get the chips small. And the process is, you know, you'll see on the video, but we go up high on the tree and then grind it down, and that leaves the big chunks. There's no big chunks. So.
And about the no-till drill, why is that a big deal?
The huge deal is most of Michigan's sandy soil, so when we're tilling, we're not disturbing that organic matter in your ground. So we're going to just drill right in, and then we'll have a Goliath crimper, and then we'll crimp it again, and then plant right into that. So we're never tilling, we're always just growing that soil. So that's a huge deal.
Okay, and explain to me, how do you work with Randy, and does he do the plan? Do you do a plan too? Do you guys work together? Are you all part of the same company?
Definitely not the same company. We pretty much were like, you know, we work for the same customers. So either he runs into a landowner that needs a plan, and then a lot of times that same landowner needs us to either clear some autumn olive or some food plots or whatever. So we come in, and then he'll refer us to them, or other way around, we'll get a customer that needs a plan. Some landowners don't necessarily know 100% the best proper way to hunt Michigan property, so then we refer them to Randy and work together.
Thanks to the guys for letting us tag along today and learn a little bit more about managing a deer hunting property. Now, many of us wish we had some land to manage, while others spend a lot of time working to make their property all that it can be, right here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
In this next story, I headed to Linwood, Michigan to hang out with the Gorski family on Saginaw Bay for an afternoon of fishing. Andy Gorski and his family run Frank's Great Outdoors. We always have an awesome time with them on the water. This day was no exception, but we had to wait for some storms to clear the area before we could hit the water. We went right out of Andy's backyard.
Just loading up, gonna take off. Mother Nature give us a little opening here tonight. Calm right down, go see if we can't scare up a couple walleye. Let the kids reel in a couple fish. We picked up this angler quest last summer, about midsummer, used it a little bit, really like it, and got a couple new additions, put a Garmin trolling motor on the front. We're gonna test that out and see how it works.
Andy's wife, Kate, says it's amazing how much pontoon boats have changed in recent years.
It's crazy how stable this tri-tune is out on the bay. We love it. We've been tubing behind it. We've been on cruises. It's got everything you need for fishing. It's right here. We jump on it, go out front. The kids just love to go for a cruise.
With the high water levels, they have to lower the boat top to get under the canal bridge and out into the bay. Andy says his boys are starting to get into fishing a little more seriously these days.
They're learning. Tucker's 10. He's got energy for years and years. Sawyer, he's a little more laid back. He's 12 and a half, but good kids, and they're picking it up a little bit. I don't force it on them too much. They do what they do, and I help them do a few things here and there. But they're learning, and we're having a lot of fun. This is a great boat to do it on. It's very stable. In 2-3 footers, you can run right into them. Just keep the bow up, and away you go. It's 26 foot long, and it handles them real nice.
Andy and Kate's boys are the next generation of Gorski fishermen. Their great-grandparents are the original founders of Frank's in Linwood.
Yeah, I fished with I actually caught minnows with my grandpa as a young boy. That was fun, and then we fished with grandpa, fished with dad, so I guess we'll just keep it rolling. If the kids fish with me, and we'll just keep fishing. That's what we do.
A great legacy to continue. After a quick ride, we got set up in one of Andy's favorite spots out on Saginaw Bay.
We're going to try to hit 14 to 18 foot of water here. Right straight out front, just like always. Right in front of the house.
The wind was picking up this evening and making things a little more challenging.
Well, I had a plan, but we had to switch to plan B. We got a little wavy out there, and I couldn't control the boat with the trolling motor, so we run the big motor and put the bags out and rolled with them because there was 2-3 footers out there. So that slowed us down a little bit. We caught a couple fish, but had a few rainstorms go through today, some lightning, so we had to wait to get out there. We only had about a couple, 3 hours left to try and just mess around a little bit. The water's kind of dirty. All the runoff from all the rain we had last week's made it a little tough. Fish are scattered, so if you find the edge of the clean and muddy water, that's where the fish are. So yeah, we hit a few in 14 to 16 foot of water, and that was it today, just for the last little bit, just for dark here.
After switching out the bags for the trolling motor, things were a little more under control, and we had the first fish of the day out behind the boat. Young Tucker jumped into action to bring it in. Andy says fishing the Great Lakes is a fun challenge and ever-changing.
As the water levels change and the things change, the fishing changes as well, so it just roll with the punches.
Do you guys see any of the effects of those dams breaking last week?
There's a lot of stuff floating out there, a lot of stuff coming down the river. I've seen pictures of, I haven't seen it myself, but pictures of big trees and decks, and I've heard people run into stuff. So if you're out there moving around, you better be on your toes, you better be looking, because it can be quite dangerous. You could be in a heap of trouble real quick.
Great words of advice. Any body of water can hold lots of debris this time of year, so boaters need to keep their eyes peeled. Well, Tucker's fish was officially in the boat. He reeled it in like a pro and was ready to check it out.
Flicker minnow number 9.
Do you want to hold them up and I'll get your picture?
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. It's the first walleye of the day.
Good job reeling them in. Okay, let's throw them in a live well. Throw them in there. There you go.
With just the one fish in the box so far, things were pretty slow to say the least. With the sun creeping down towards the horizon, it was time to call it an evening. And as the boys helped Andy reel in all the lines, Sawyer happened to be in the right place at the right time and had a fish hit while he was bringing his bait in. It was a nice surprise at the end of the day.
Oh, we got another one. Bonus one.
Good job, Sawyer.
Nice. The old thin fin comes through in a pinch. Nice.
Nice job, Sawyer.
Big smoochie. Oh, nice. Put it in there.
2 fish in the box at the end of a 2-hour fishing trip. Maybe not the kind of day to brag about, but a great day nonetheless. It's trips like these where success is measured not only by the fish in the cooler, but by memories made with family, traditions carried on to the next generation, and precious time spent in our beautiful Michigan out of doors. Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you stay tuned in upcoming weeks. Lots of exciting things headed your way. We'll be doing some big lake fishing up at Drummond Island. Inland fishing. We'll also try our hand at some groundhog hunting. If you'd like to see where we are and where we're headed next, you can always check us out online.
Well, that's right, Jenny. Online, always a great way to kind of check us out. You can check us out on our website. We're also on most of the social media platforms as well if you want to check us out. Something else to check out, you might want to look at the Woods and Waters magazine here over the next month or two. Some of the crew here at Michigan Out of Doors Television is doing a little writing for that, so check that out. And unfortunately, if you watch the news at all, you really have seen that there is a lot of civil unrest all over our great country and even here in our home state of Michigan. I'm not going to go off on some big tangent, but I do know this. Whether you're a Republican, Democrat, no matter the color of your skin, I know this. We all need to be treating each other with more compassion and more empathy than maybe we ever have. Thanks so much for watching Michigan Out of Doors this week. Hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by.
Do you dream of somewhere bigger than your backyard? You can get there with Greenstone. Whether you want to hunt, fish, hike, or just watch the sunset, we're ready to help you own your place in the great outdoors. To learn more, visit greenstonefcs.com.
By Jay's Sporting Goods, with locations in Clare and Gaylord. Jay's has been serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971, with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's. On the web at jaysportinggoods.com. Closed captioning provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, East to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love